Hello, we've had amazing 2 drives in the wilds of South Africa and Kenya. This is Safari Catch Up.
We are watching one of the most coordinated strategic operations here. So, how these lions have decided to position themselves is still a mystery to me. How they communicate and how they assure that everyone has a role to play. But it's indeed, every individual here has a role of the success for a good hunt. So, what is happening here? She keeps on lifting her head, going down. She has to study the terrain, how the proximity and where to walk. So there's noise minimization here. Each step is carefully placed. So when they move, they have to make sure that they are not heard. And when you see them walk, they walk like ghosts. Shoulders low, tails tucked in. And it's very nice to see when they make a move. They've still been here, so waiting at least for the zebras to come closer. Because going round, thank you, Big James. So it's a very open patch, and because the zebras are in a hilly place, so when the lions advance to them, they might be seen. So they have to wait patiently for the zebras to make a move and try to see if they can come closer to them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a rather interesting animal here. We have a rather large snail known as the giant African land snail. Now, these large, oversized snails can be found pretty much all over southern Africa. We find them in countries like Mozambique, we find them in Kenya, we find them in Tanzania. They can be found also all throughout Somalia to Ethiopia. And have been distributed around the continent as well as the world as pets, unfortunately. This is their natural environment out here in the wild. And obviously, being a massive snail, they do take a little bit of time to get from point A to point B, as you can see. Now, obviously, we've had a little bit of moisture, a little bit of rain over the evening, and with the rain falling, this has brought quite a lot of them out. This is the second one that we've seen this morning.
But look what we found. We found a shongololo, otherwise known as a millipede. In fact, a couple of millipedes up in the tree here in one of the bush willows. Normally we see these guys trundling across the roads in front of us, but it's also not uncommon to find them up in the trees. So they might be finding little foodstuffs that are collecting or things that are growing on these branches. But look at those amazing rhythmical waving motions of those legs. It always astounds me as to how they are able to coordinate all of those movements for something, dare I say, as primitive as a millipede. But their morphology is a little bit different from ours. So you can see the antennae there, which is picking up any sense, chemoreceptors there, looking for potential food items. And their main brain, if you like, is in that head. And then each of those body segments has its own what's called a ganglia, which is a little nerve bundle. And they all work in unison. So it's basically got a small brain for every single one of those segments. And that little ganglia, that little nerve bundle, is responsible for making sure all those legs work in unison. So pretty amazing how it all fits together.
So we have success. The Three Amigos, the three male coalition of Cheetah. Obviously on a bit of a territorial walk. They didn't go too far, 2-3 kilometers from where we last saw them last night, yesterday afternoon, on the Sunset Drive. All three of them here together once again. but two lying up close to each other. It seems these two are a little bit closer to each other in this coalition. The one seemingly lying off on its own. But they are a close-knit unit. So Jane, I haven't seen these guys fighting at all. It could show itself a little bit. You might see a little bit of a split in the ranks when there's a female that they want to mate with. That's when you might see a bit of dominance, or who is dominant. But other than that, we've seen zero conflict between these guys. Well, me at least. Very well established coalition, and they're doing very well as a result.
Now we've left the lions that we're hunting because it seems like it's going to take a little bit of time. Now I've come back to the den, and sure enough, 2 of the babysitters are with the cubs, and I can see 3 of the cubs actually nursing. So 2 are right now on the... Oh, look at how cute they are. Super cute, tucked in the reeds. These cubs are too small to be left alone in a place like this, because there's a watering hole around here, and sometimes buffaloes might come here for a drink. I've seen elephants, and you never know, can be vulnerable to the cubs. Oh, look at how cute that is. Hello, Mom. Probably the other one doesn't have enough milk. Let's try this one. You can see how she's growling. It's like, no, I don't have enough milk for you.
Yeah, we've got some giraffe feasting on a tambuti tree, and this giraffe on the left has one of the palest bottoms that I've seen for a very long time. You see, very, very white. I don't think we can call this a leucistic giraffe just yet, but you can see how pale the markings are on the lower part, certainly. So just a little less melanin in this one than the others. But interesting that they are happily feeding on this tambuti tree. Tambutis, of course, are very toxic. They have that white milky latex, which is poisonous to many things. But we do see giraffe and also kudus feeding on the leaves sometimes, but normally in the drier winter months when the latex is less. But you can see this one eating with a reasonable amount of gusto. Well, I'm glad you think this is wonderful and unique. It is, yeah. It's not unusual to see giraffes feeding on tambutis. They are well known to do so, but they often feed for a little bit and then move on. But you can see they're obviously thoroughly enjoying it.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, have a look at this magnificent bird. Now, this is what we call the martial eagle, and this bird is the largest eagle species that we have here. Well, largest of the eagle species that we have here in southern Africa. Basically, their diet consists of other birds, mammals, and a couple of reptiles. So mammals that they'll go after mongoose, they'll go after dassies or rock hyrax as we call them. They'll go after scrubbies. Not really active at night time, but if they find a spring hare running around during the daytime, then they'll go after that. As I mentioned, young antelope, small antelope. So a steenbok would be something that it would be able to go for. That is just bigger than an impala lamb. It also depends, I suppose, on the impala lamb.
We have got a grey heron who is looking out over his domain, but I'm hoping he was going to hunt. He looked as if he was thinking about it, was wading in the water a few minutes ago and staring intently into the depths. But it seems, for now, he just seems to be happy enjoying the view. We've seen a few splishes and splashes. It's one of those great mysteries to me how fish can suddenly appear in areas as soon as there's some water, but of course we know many fish are able to bury themselves in the soil beneath the surface and coat themselves in that sort of mucus to stop them from drying out, and then as soon as the pool fills up again, they seem to just sort of somehow emerge. It's always a bit of a mystery. Maybe he's decided that somewhere downstream is a better hunting opportunity. Tristan, a good question. I have no doubt they would happily eat insects as well. But I guess they will move. Thankfully, they've got wings, so they will go until they do find somewhere that does have some available fish, I would imagine. Otherwise, they're just going to have to make do with whatever they can find.
Jojo, what are you up to there, Jojo? Not sure what exactly Jojo was trying to do. The three girls here, for those of you who could be joining us now, are from the Marsh Pride. The good-looking male there is called either M7, but his good name is Jojo. But just look at his physique. Look at the mane. Look at his hindquarters. The front quarters and the shoulder height. My guess is one of the females here is in season, and either Jojo has to pull her aside, because in total I got 4 females here, as you can see. And I have always thought, I mean, of the 6 girls here, 3 of them have been denning.
Welcome back, and our vultures are really warming up. Oh, that one has taken off. Can tell that he's a little bit off, but you can see he's not very up high in the sky. So looking for a place to perch. Oh yeah, and the other one has followed. Boom. You can see they're perched down there. So they need the heat, and that's where these pores come so important. So from the night, there's humidity, and that reduces their weight. It kind of like becomes very heavy. So when they heat up, it reduces their weight because the humidity on the feathers is off from them. So that is absorbing. Oh, there looks like it got some building materials. Oh, nice. Eric, I agree with you. Good job, Big James. So look, I thought maybe they're using the thermals or maybe want to heat up, but it looks like they're building the nest, and the other one is coming right now. Ready to see. It's nice to see the two doing that job together. They're doing the constructor work. Very, very nice.
We drove around the corner and found these 2 big old bulls systematically dismantling a marula tree, which, whether or not they are responsible for pushing it over or if it was some others, I'm not so sure. Look at that, very, very sharp tusks as well. Quite thin, but look at them eating the bark. You can see that reddish hue on the inside of the bark. That is the cambium layer that we talk about so often. There is so much nutrition and carbohydrate and energy contained within that. And they're both taking the opportunity to have a little bit of a head scratch. Yeah. How manipulatable or how malleable that trunk is, having a good scratch behind the ear. Or maybe he's a bit shy, sheltering his face with his ear.
Look at that. So this is one of the most successful hunters. So they have a high hunting success rate, up to about 50% or more. And I know they can't survive on termite only. They can also, because they are terrestrials, or they always find them in the grassy patch. So they'll go for rodents, and also this also keep the rodent balance down. So they go for rodents, even snakes, and birds. So if birds see her, they'll all be flying, hovering over here, especially the yellow-throated longclaws, which give her away very often. So the most times I've seen serval is because of the yellow-throated longclaws. Oh, look at that beautiful face. Look at how the ears are listening to every bit of movement. The grass being blown by wind, also she gets to pick that.
So this is what we've been waiting for. Finally, our patience has paid off. These guys are waking up now, and looks like they're gonna, well, the one's already up on this fallen over stump. Maybe a little bit of marking in order. They have been up on this before. We know this stump, and we know what they're gonna do. So he's got the dribbles. I wonder, maybe he's smelling their past markings. I'm not quite sure. I don't think the female really come up into this area, but it's also possible. The others are moving around as well. This one's got the best view. Just a stunning view when they get up on a stump like this.
Standing side by side or back to back. These are two males, and they were having a little bit of a neck. So even though the smaller one is at the back, that is the more dominant posture. Not unusual to see male giraffes mounting one another as a sign of dominance. Come on, keep necking. They were having a not full-blooded necking. This is by no means a full-on fight. This is two young males just posturing for a little bit of dominance. And they'll often stand side by side and nudge each other and kick out with their legs. Oh, there we go, a little bit of necking. They're jostling for position like two boxers in the center of the ring. But interesting, the posture, this younger one, so staying at the back, which I see as an attempt to show dominance against the slightly larger one in the front. See, the one at the back is just not interested at all. I'm busy feeding, thank you. There's plenty of fresh produce around. We've struggled our way through the winter, and he is just enjoying it.
See the beauty of the marsh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. And if you look at them carefully, they're feeding, heading outside the marsh. And possibly they have been here the whole day feeding. And through the grass, you can see necks of herons, either grey herons or black-headed herons. Julian, we have always thought there is a national park called Tsavo National Park, and another one called, Amboseli National Park, where you have huge, ellies with huge tusks. But even here, Julian, if you look carefully on like the one, some of the tusks here with these ellies, you can see how big tusks they got. Look at that. There's that one particular male there. Look at the size, Julian, of the whole ellie, the size of the tusks. And the one cow moving towards that particular male.
We are looking at some natural art. It's always nice to look at some of the smaller things. With the rain, it's brought out the insects, and we've found some evidence of insects from long ago, not necessarily prehistoric, but sometimes insects leave behind some really incredible markings in the tree. This has been created by one of the bark beetles. Whether or not it's a longhorn or one of the more commonly called bark beetles, I'm not 100% sure. But I think this is just so beautiful. You've got this long sort of slit here. That's a crack in the wood. But you can see how all of these little tunnels fan out from this central, almost like vein. And this would have been where a bunch of little eggs of the beetle were laid. The larvae have then hatched, and then they feed on the dead wood. So you can see all these little tubes where the larvae have moved away from where they hatched from, and you can see how the tubes actually increase in size, or these little pathways, as the larvae eats more, and as it grows it expands, and we can actually see if we can follow them very, very small, and then if you follow the path you can see how it gets thicker and thicker and thicker.
What about a dancing? Imara, you have to keep up with that male there. Imara is on camera, and Imara, you have no choice. And these are the grey crown cranes. My guess, the one on the right of your screen. And they're having a courtship dance. Alright boy, let's do it again. My guess is the one on the right is the male. Because in general, the male tends to entertain the female more. Yes.
I'll probably slowly head up this hill, maybe go to their favourite marking points. There, he's going to chase him. Yeah, get him. He'll tackle on. Oh, that was all three going now. Get the ankle tap. So, Mr. Waterbuck, it's not forced. They don't have to follow, but it's almost like when one walks down the road, they almost feel like they're left out. So they don't want to be left behind. So yeah, they just follow willingly. It's not anything forced. They don't have to, but they do. And they're a very close-knit unit. So if one decides he's going off down the road, generally you'll start to see, even if one is just laid down, he keeps an eye on the one that's walking down the road, and then eventually gets up and follows. So still not 100% sure who is dominant here. I mean, and I'm also not sure who does what with the kills. Very often you'll have one that goes for the neck, another one that does the ankle taps, so It'll be interesting to see a full hunt from start to finish. We've sort of seen portions of it and then come many times after the fact, but I haven't seen any through. We can see them playing with each other, which is also delightful.
She does look like she could potentially be one of the matriarchs here. Not one of the. She could be the matriarch in this herd. And you can see she is also leaking from her temporal gland. Jeffrey, sort of, the female that ends up becoming the next matriarch is usually either her daughter or maybe a younger sister of this particular female. And, obviously, the more time you hang around the matriarch, the more of her ways you learn. You pick up on a couple of things. Elephants have an amazing memory, her most likely her oldest daughter will probably be the one to take over. It's almost like royalty.
So we're in for a potential hunt here. We've come up on top of the hill and these three boys are stalking these blesbok who all have their heads down. Trouble is, we're not in the best position to see them nicely. We've actually lost sight of the cheetah. I can see, I think, one at the back, but there's one that was getting very close to them. The thing that the cheetah also have in their favor is that the blesbok would be looking, this is the direction that the cheetah would be coming from, but they're looking straight into the sun. So I think that's going to help them as well. I may have spotted them now. But the heads keep going back down, so they haven't confirmed. And as I say, like I say, they might not be as focused as they would be if they hadn't eaten this 2-3 days ago. They, I think, are just sitting still now, the cheetah are, watching the blesbok. They're not moving in.
We have indeed got some kudu. We're playing peekaboo with the kudu. Hello, look at your big ears sticking out from behind the... What is that, a cork bush or are you a quarry? Difficult to tell. Let me check. Oh, it's neither. It is a Natal. Well, it's a Natal quarry by the look of it. But we are rather looking at the kudu. There were a couple of them. The others have melted into the background the way they do. Actually, it's got quite thick, shaggy hair for a kudu, this one, and almost no striping at all. And a very white sort of chin strap there, more associated with the males, with that big, long, beautifully groomed hair that hangs underneath the neck. Don't normally see it quite so obviously in the females, but it's being backlit very nicely with this soft evening light. But strange to see a kudu with almost no stripes.
As you can see, nature never fails to deliver something magical. We hope you enjoyed the Safari Catch Up. We'll see you on the next one.